Okay, say something, Shane.
Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Oh, I can hear me.
I don't.
All right, give me 1 second here. Like, let me. I'm gonna. If I can hear myself somewhere. Like, I don't know if I'm hearing myself in the Twitch chat or the conference line.
Keep talking, Shane.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me hear if I can hear myself. I'll just pick up this
Keep talking,
call.
Shane.
Wait, is it me talking to you talking, or is it like third person? Like, I heard something based on me talking to you
I
talking.
don't hear you at all.
I think because I heard myself once.
Yeah, that's when I had the volume up coming through my Mac. Like, go ahead and talk now. I don't hear you at all.
All right, do you have the volume up on your Mac? You
Yeah.
want me to keep talking?
Yeah, that's when I had the volume up coming through my Mac. Like, go ahead and talk now.
You sure you want me to keep talking?
Yep.
I mean, are you sure? You sure you wanted me to keep talking? Are you really,
Yeah.
really, really sure that you want to keep me keep talking? Are you really, really, really sure? Okay, okay.
I can hear it. It sounds fine.
Yeah, because I'm listening to it for you the Twitch chat, and I can hear it.
Yeah. But it's just picking up the microphone as opposed to picking it up the audio output. Here it is here. And it's not capturing anything. That's I thought it was the inputs that were broken. It's the outputs that's broken. Okay,
Hmm.
no worries.
As long as they can hear my lovely dulcet tones, my vernacular, my opinions,
Yep, they
I
sure
think we'll
will.
be good.
Okay, now we got to get Cairo Queen on. Did she join our Discord?
No, she has not joined our Discord yet.
Let's see. I'm gonna call her, so stand by.
You okay?
You can probably hear the phone ring and the whole discussion.
Hmm.
I did see that she was logged in on Discord. Hey, just seeing if you're joining us on Discord.
Yeah, you said anytime between now and 7, right?
Yeah, no, well, it's 6 your time. So we're on
Oh,
now, and we're starting at 7 our time, 6 your time.
oh shoot. Okay, okay. Here I come.
Yeah,
Can I be a few minutes late?
absolutely. We got some
I
things we
scrolled
need to
down
do.
thinking that I thought I still had time. Okay,
So
here I come.
I sent you a Discord invite, so you should have the information to get into the room.
Okay, and do I need to be on my computer or can I do it on my phone?
You can do it on your phone,
Okay,
unless there's
alrighty.
something on your computer you want to share.
I might be there in about 10 minutes.
All right,
So,
take your time.
okay, alrighty. How long is it?
Hour ish. Like we try to be done by 8
Okay,
o'clock.
okay.
Well, 8 o'clock our
Sounds good.
time, so we got 50 minutes left.
Okay,
All
here
right,
I come.
all right, later.
Sorry.
No worries. All right, Shane. So you and I can get our stuff together. All right. Let me go to the Facebook page. I am on the Facebook page. You're monitoring the Twitch one.
All right, I got you.
Okay. So I see two people on the Facebook page. So let's go. So here is our to-do list. So what I need to do here, I forgot what it was. Oh, start restream. There it is. Okay, here's our to-do list. So, okay, well, hey, how you doing, Shane? Welcome to Everything Ruined Show. How are you doing today?
Everything's. Wow, we ruined everything. We even ruined the intro. They know.
Hey, we're staying
They
true
know.
to what we titled this show.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if we're gonna ruin everything, why not ruin the opening to our show, huh?
Yeah, why not? It
I
just.
mean, might as well, right? So it's been a minute there, D. How you doing over there, huh?
I'm doing well. Things are good. Let's see, what have I been up to the last 2 weeks? We had an impromptu party for my wife's sister, so she came into town. So we did like a little barbecue slash celebration for her last Tuesday. It was pretty cool. Bought her this
Was it?
cheesecake, this amazing cheesecake. It's so delicious. I can't remember what it's called. Let me try to find it real quick because I got to give a shout out to this cheesecake. This cheesecake is called. Uh,
Cheesecake Factory.
no, it's way better. Cake order. It's called Bakery, Confectionist Baker, Confectionist Bakery ATL.com. This is so delicious. Let me pull it up here. And this is a impromptu.
So I want to point out that we are not sponsored by Confectionery Bakery. We're not sponsored by them. This is all on the garage team. Although, if you want to sponsor this show, please be sure to contact us. We are more than willing to sell out for the correct amount of money.
Yes.
Like, no problems. We will totally sell out. Please, if you don't mind. Lots of moolah.
Bring it on. So I was at a friend's house, and he had this. This is one of our classmates we went to college with, and he had a sample. He had a prototype cheesecake at his house. He gave Kristen and I a piece, and it was so.
Prototype cheesecake, huh?
It was prototype cheesecake because it wasn't available in the market. So I had some. I'm like, this is one of the best cheesecake ever. So I'm like, I called Roger, hooked me up with them, and I ordered one immediately, and he delivers to you. You buy the cheesecake, and it shows up at your house. That's all you got to do. And it's a massive cheesecake. It's really delicious. So there's all sorts of cakes and cheesecakes and all sorts of things that are sweet, and it's very, very, very delicious. Confectionist Bakery. I can never say that. Confectionist Bakery, ATL.com. Okay, so that's a quick shout out. So anyway, we ended up having this big, massive cheesecake last week, and we had a celebration with my wife's sister. What about you? How things been on your end?
Oh, things have been calm, relaxed. Been calm and relaxed. I got a new computer today, which was pretty cool.
Hey, from that laptop that you've been piecing together.
Yeah, so I no longer have. I still have my laptop that is basically held together with duct tape and glue and love.
Yeah.
But I actually, they gave me I got an Alienware computer. So to all those of you out there who I know be right to say, oh, Alienware, what's the problem? Are you such a try hard? This machine has been quiet. It's been nice. It's been smooth. It has given me no problems, and I got it for dirt cheap. So I mean, I personally am not going to complain or whine or moan about it. It hasn't come. It hasn't done anything wrong to me yet. So
I hear you. So tonight we are going to have a very special guest. Her name is Cairo Queen, and she is an amazing young lady who is one of the most well educated futurists that I've have met. She is all over technology. She can speak to past technologies and has all sorts of insights and scoops on various tech celebrities. And as far as when it comes to futurists and predicting tech, she is spot on. So we're waiting for her to join us tonight. She'll be here shortly. But Shane, you want to cover some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight? I put them up so you can see them on the screen.
oh no, I have it on my own screen, my man.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to talk about a couple of things here tonight, guys. First and foremost, if you want to talk about everything being ruined, apparently a developer is trying to ruin your eyesight with a new VR headset. We're going to be talking about some online conferences because a lot of the normal live conferences have been ruined by the global situation, the pandemic. From there, we're going to be talking about AR on the playground and Pokemon Go, and then finally, we're going to be talking about the launches, particularly the SpaceX launch that they had a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome. That's great. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. You want to start the top one? So we are at 7:13, a few minutes behind our schedule. So developer warns VR headset damaged his eyesight. I'm clicking on the link now.
Oh, my stars and goddess. Like, give us the deets here, D.
Okay, so this gentleman who is a AR developer, kind of like you and I, he spends a lot of time in AR.
I,
So he has this head-mounted display (HMD) or headset on in front of his eyes with this display in front of his eyes a long period of time throughout the day. So I'm just going to read quickly through this article. A software developer has tweeted about how wearing a VR headset for hours a day has damaged his eyesight. A visit to an optician's left him worried about my future VR use after a doctor blamed the technology for the problem with his visions. Glasses should correct the issue, but would normally only be prescribed to 40-year-olds, he tweeted. The Association of Optometrists said it had not seen evidence that VR headsets could cause permanent eye damage. I'm scrolling down to find some more. Here, I'm reading right here. Doctors have previously warned that virtual reality, which is a computer-generated simulation of real or imaginary environment, can cause eye strain because the brain is forced to process visual stimuli in a different way to normal. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I
Okay.
mean, when you really boil this down, D, I mean, I'm not terribly surprised by this kind of notion here. I mean, first and foremost, this is the first time this guy has ever gone to the eye doctor in what, 3 years?
Yeah, maybe it's
And
been some time. Did I
what
lose
was
you,
that, D?
Shane?
I said this is the first time he's gone to the eye doctor in what, 3 years? Is that correct?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say. I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned that actually here. It's like, where it was just had my first eye doctor visit in 3 years. So this is the first time he's gone to see them in 3 years.
Yeah. So it's been some
So
time.
I'm not gonna put any. I'm not gonna deny his claim or make or anything like that. But I will point out that I mean, I'm not terribly surprised by this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lord knows eye strain and the like is a symptom of just looking at a screen too long. And when you have and Lord knows we've gone through in terms of VR sets, we've gone from the Oculus Dev Kit 1 and 2, which had a screen resolution of I think 600 to 400, 600 by 400 or something like that. Terrible resolution. I remember going in and like throwing up and just getting sick being in that thing. We've gone to other like the first version of the Vive, which was a little bit better. Certainly it was HD quality, but was still rough. And now we're getting to the Quest, which is smaller, but still, we don't have the field of view that you want. It's still a rough going here. Plus, the light's going right into your eyes, right there in front of you. Like, imagine staring at your computer screen, like being inches away from your computer screen. That's what you're doing in VR. You know?
Absolutely. So, and I've talked about and mentioned this in the past that, when it comes to displays, since everything is digital now, turn everything brightness down. It's the first thing you do with a monitor. And my rule of thumb is like, if your eyes need to transition from the screen to the room, the screen is too bright. Right? Your eyes should not have to transition when you look away from different stuff, especially when it comes to these HMDs, head-mounted displays, which are literally inches, if that far from your eyes. Turn the brightness all the way down. The way I describe it is light. Light is part of the electromagnetic field. It's an energy. It's a source of energy, and we're pumping that into our eyes. We're literally cooking our eyes. So turn that light energy down. You want to minimize that as much as you can, in order to protect and ensure the longevity of your eyes. There was an instance that happened to me back in 2004. I can remember this is when we were still using CRTs, and some odd reason my eyesight went out for like a week, and it was due to my monitor. It was a little fuzzy. I had the max resolution on it where everything was like as small as possible, bright as possible. And I went to the doctor and they had no idea why I couldn't open my eyes and see it was literally a week. So after that incident with myself, I've always always turned down the brightness of my monitors because I've had an incident where I lost my sight for a little bit. And I wasn't scared. It was just annoyed with it because we couldn't figure it out. But it was weird. And then I realized, at least in my mind, it was because my monitors were too bright.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those bits where it's just it's going to be rough. This is something that we're going to probably have to improve on as we make the technology better and we learn our lessons from it. But I feel like as though this might not be the biggest problem for say a consumer in the same way that it is for us as developers. Like we as developers, we're going to be in there for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, just kind of shenanigans going through there. Versus if you're a player, you're gonna leave it. To go into VR is to devote yourself to VR. To get out of VR is to just leave it. So I think that people are going to be a lot more. That this is something we might see from developers, but we may not see necessarily from consumers.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll see how time will tell. Right there have been studies done, and there have been studies done back in the '90s where there was like near field displays. This is for me. This isn't a new thing. I've kind of analyzed this back in grad school, and we know this is a bad thing. So here it is, the second and third iteration of this augmented reality, surge, and we're experiencing some of the things that we've seen before in the '90s. Speaking of the '90s, and the consumers, let's move on to online conferences. MomoCon online. Did you go? Did you attend it? How? Tell me about it.
So when it comes down to it, like MomoCon, this is a anime convention that we have in Atlanta. It's one of the biggest anime conventions out there. We have it usually in around May-ish, like beginning of May. And due to the global situation, the pandemic, we couldn't do it. So especially since Georgia was in the middle of a lockdown at the time. So as a result, there's no MomoCon this year. So they tried to resolve that by having MomoCon in virtual MomoCon. So they had panels where you can talk to certain people about it out on, where you can talk to people online. That was open and available to the public. And there's a bunch of conferences that over the course of I think this last couple of months that we've seen move online. One of the biggest conferences or move online, or instead they're going to try to move their stuff towards it anyway. Like for example, E3 is one of the biggest conferences for video games, right? But there's no E3 this year because hey, no one wants it. The whole thing is shut down, locked down, everything. So what they did is what a bunch of different game studios are kind of showing off their work everywhere else. PlayStation had their State of Play conference. IGN is going through and actually showing off. Hey, indie developers, show us your games, and we'll go through and give them some attention here. We'll basically have our own E3. So what I'm thinking of is two things. The first is that I don't think this is going to be a temporary thing. I think things are going to begin to move towards this online format. They were already moving like that for years now, but a large amount of I love cons for talking to people, but if you're just there for the panels, then you can just go online for those, right? You don't have to worry about missing them.
Yep, that's true.
What are your thoughts, DD? Are you a conference goer?
I am a conference grower. I am a in-person and talk with somebody in real time and see them and shake their hands. I'm old school that way. I prefer all my meetings in person, and then phone call second. Because there's just a level element. There's an element of opportunity that presents itself being there in person. Now, if it's just a piece of information I want to get and I want to listen to something, sure, that's great as well. But there's some value added for being there in person. At least that's my opinion.
Oh no, certainly. I will say I've struck up some con friendships that I just enjoy. Like I remember going to Dragon Con last year, and I'm just going through and sitting and standing there at the used comics bin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going through and just trying to go through and look at the new comics for cheap. And this girl dressed up as Mera walks up next to me, right?
As who?
Mera, so like Aquaman's wife.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking over here. I'm looking to her. So I am a polite young gentleman. So I say hi. So how are you doing? And she says fine. And we're just kind of chatting about. We're just going through and just hammering it out. We're just looking at books.
Mm-hmm.
And she's new. This is her first con, so I'm like, okay. And so she asked for advice. What is she? What do I think is good? What books would she? Would I suggest? I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I can give you plenty of good ideas of what you could be reading. And then so her boyfriend eventually comes by, and we start talking to him as well. And I'm like, that part of me is like, oh, damn. But the other part of me is just like, he's also new to this stuff too, because they're coming from North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love chatting with them.
Absolutely.
The conversation, the fun. Like they seem like they're so excited to be there, and that excitement rubs back off on you, where it just makes you happy to engage them. And that's something I will miss if we stick with this kind of format of never coming in. It's always online, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's for some people that's fine with never coming in, but for those of us who, like you said, that spontaneity that happens, and that type of environment, that's what we're paying for, and like you said, going to places. I'm a reveler in carnivals. Going to carnival with a group of friends, there's no experience that can replace it, other than being there. You have to be there. That's it. It's like you can't experience it online. You can't look at videos. You can't look at pictures. You gotta be there. It is a thorough an experience. So I think there's value added to having something physical where people are meeting in person. Now in the sense now where we're at now, where we needed to socially distance and shelter in place, moving to a virtual environment or virtual experience, it was a good backup. At least what I think.
I mean, I do like some notions of this because, like for example, at AEWE 2020, you had the option. Although the site was a bit rough and there were some problems there, you had the option to message the guy live as they're doing the panel.
Yeah.
So and they'll respond to your questions and basically kind of like you would normally. There was still a level of interaction, and I do know that there's some conferences that are just too far. Like I can't make it to Apple's WWDC conference. I can't make it to whatever conference Oculus decides to have in California. I'm busy and I don't have a grand to drop. You know,
2 grand.
GDC is a huh?
2 grand.
2 grand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to get there.
Like let me put it like this, right? I don't have the monies to go to GDC, which was like $2,000. And that's just to get there. That's just to it go through the front door.
Yep.
That's not counting my plane ticket. That's not counting my my hotel. That's not counting my my business cards I'm gonna have to print out. That's not counting the drinks I'm gonna have to go get. All this stuff. Oh, and it seems, D, that we have a guest here.
We do have a guest, so we can use that part for our online conferences, and we can use the next few minutes of this 10-minute cycle to let's see, we get a technical make sure our technical works with Cairo. Cairo, can you hear us?
I hear you perfectly. How do I sound?
Sound good.
Sound great.
Awesome.
All right,
I
so
can see you guys.
yeah, we're not on video because I normally share our screen. So you can either stay on video or you can just put up your screen thing. It's up to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I will say
I
that
thought
you'll
we
be
were
the
on
first.
Huh?
You're the first face that are. Huh?
I thought we were gonna be on video.
No, we're sharing our screen. I pretty much put up articles and stuff.
Yeah, sorry about that. Me and Degrassi are really shy. Isn't that right, D?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Really
So,
shy.
Shane, this is the young lady I was telling you about. Her name is Cairo Queen. I did an introduction of her earlier today. Cairo, please please let Shane know and the audience know about your background. Tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm Kyra Queen, technology adaptation and awareness subject matter expert. I am a person who has you could say I'm a tech enthusiast. If you want to give it a quick summation, tech enthusiast. I have probably over the last decade plus been trying to push people towards the technology-driven future in the pockets of of populations where we are underserved in the conversation, have been for at least the last 20 years. Um, like they didn't exist in my office space, and there were maybe a few. But then, like when I would go home, the people who I hung out with, my family members, they had absolutely no idea what I was talking about when I would talk about the cool stuff. See, I worked with devices, and I had innovative devices that nobody in this country had because I was managing the inventory and I was loading them in and putting their firmware on to the devices. And I was having a great time doing it because, I was on the cutting edge of this international company's new innovations. And so hopped around a few tech companies, and everywhere I went, I still didn't see that many people that looked like me, and still the same thing. I go home and talk to people about this stuff, nobody knew. I worked on, and we say, the largest calling network that was ever put together about a decade ago. I worked on that team that put that calling network together. And as I was telling people, I was like, "Hey, do you know this is happening? And do you know what?" And I started having these things where I would just realize nobody knew what I was talking about. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided I was going to write a book. So I started writing a book, and I started doing surveys, and I was asking people like, "Do you know that the NSA is spy tapping you?" And they were like, "The who?" So I started talking about cybersecurity, and people were like, "What?" I was talking about drones probably about 6 years ago. And then I just had someone call me that stole an idea of mine and wanted to come back and hire me because I told them about the drones a long time ago, and they decided to go and do government contracting with drones. But they want to hire me now to do their marketing. So I infuse business education because my background is in marketing, business administration. So I infuse business education, marketing, and um, technology into a space for businesses that are starting to be able to survive. So give them different levels of starting automation, some soft technology. And I realized while I was doing this stuff with these tech companies, a lot of people didn't have funding, so I went after funding, and companies who could help businesses get funded. So I met a lot of investors. I met people who are private money brokers, law firms. I started putting pieces together that I realized a lot of people just didn't have on this front end of the tech industry.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not in Silicon Valley 5 years ago, a lot of people didn't know what to do. So now we've had this great boom because, of course, technology has taken over, and are now the number one industry next to oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the number one industries in the world, where we have the first trillionaires ever to exist in mass population on the planet, within the tech industry. And of course, now the governments are now beholden to the tech industry. Something I predicted a long time ago. I had tech shows, which I brought De Gratier on a long time ago, and other things that I've done, events, etc. I just wanted people to know about technology, and so that they would know what to do when a time like now comes, and we need to be able to understand more and more what is happening as opposed to what somebody is telling us. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. That's so amazing, and I'm so
Absolutely
honored
awesome resume.
to have met Cairo. It's been 6, 7 years. It's been a while. How long has it been since we met in the robotics lab? What year did you come out?
About
It's
six.
about six
I
years.
didn't even talk about that. The
Oh
mentorship.
yeah.
De
So you
Gratier
guys.
was like
So
a super mentor.
Yeah, so we met at the robotics lab at Dr. Lonnie Johnson's and the 100 Scholars Robotics Lab, volunteering and being mentors and coaches. Shane, I'm gonna go grab a glass of water, but can you give Cairo a background, a little bit about your background and what we're doing on this show?
Nice to
okay,
meet you,
certainly.
Shane.
So nice to meet you, Mal. So my name is Shane Grant. I am a developer. I'm an AR VR developer here in Atlanta. I have been working with VR since the Oculus Dev Kit 1. I remember being in college and I walked into the lab and they were talking about this thing. I'm like, well, what's VR? And then and from there it was off to the races pretty much. I've been working with VR since 2014, which I know is not really all that long in the grand scheme of things. I know plenty of people in the industry have been doing it since back before we called it VR. So I'm not going to brag too much about that. But I just do a little bit of work in terms of VR and AR here in Atlanta for a little company called Futurist. So I'm not gonna. And that's my background there. Sorry.
I've heard of it.
And
You
then
heard
the
of
show,
Interesting
Futurist?
company.
It's good.
Yeah, so
Glad to see the names getting out there. Did you
and
hear
then
from
what,
Degrante?
and then
I
what we do on the
did.
show?
So this is the this show is called Everything Ruined. I don't know how that name came about,
It
but
came about because Shane came up with it. Shane,
yeah.
it's just, and I loved it. I'm like, we're just gonna call it that. We were talking about it.
So
Everything ruined. I
Yeah.
yep.
like
So
that.
we are a tech show that goes about. We talk about various articles, ideas, and concepts from that we've seen over the course of weeks. Give our opinions on it, kind of break them down, and if need be, ruin them for the audience here. So
I like it.
yeah, so I feel like one of our goals here is that we want to go through and approach any topic we're going through here, mainly tech focusing on technology, and break it down for people. A lot of people seem to think for whatever reason that technology is magical. Like as though they look at their computer and some magical device that allows them to connect to the interwebs of legend. And oh, but be careful if you go into that dark magic, otherwise you'll go into the dark web. You know, that kind of thing. People think that look at the little box in their hand and don't really understand it or its capabilities. And so me and DeGrante like to spend maybe 10 minutes talking about various different subjects around basically really anything, sometimes fiction, sometimes actual tech, sometimes magic, and just go through and explain our thoughts on it and try to break it down so people can understand it, you know?
I totally understand that.
Yeah, and
I
and you
think
know, and she used to host many tech shows. So she's a veteran at this. Has done it for many years, and I've learned some things from her. And I'm finally just kind of getting out and doing my own thing. When she was doing this 5, 10, probably even longer ago, years ago.
I'm so
Mm.
proud of you too.
Well, thank
Great
you.
job.
Well, thank you so much.
We're still. Well, thank you,
But
man.
you said science isn't that far from magic. And technology, technically, if you think about magic, magic is what? A little hope and belief and then some components you throw together and presto changeo, right? Abracadabra, some words. Well, if you think about technology, it's not that far off. So you put some words in a machine program, right? You type some things in there. You say, okay, I'm going to tell you to do some things, and then it'll work after how many different times that I do it. But if I put the right combination of things in there, it'll work. And so you think, okay, well, it's not that far from magic. And that's why it might be a little lazy for people because a lot of things you don't understand, but you think it's something that people over there do, and it's never something I can tap into. But like magic, anybody can go and pull a rabbit out of a hat if they know how to do it. So this is the same kind of space. I think a lot of people look at it like I could never do that. But my nephew, who is 12 years old, told me that he was sitting at home writing a program so he could create a video game and sell it on the internet. And I
Mm.
thought that was interesting. I was like, so how are you doing this? Because he didn't have a computer, which I didn't know. He didn't have a computer. And so he's been doing it on an app. And he said, I can't do it on the app. And so I sent the computer to my sister, not knowing they didn't have a computer. They got a computer. Then he was like, no, I need a Windows computer. I need to code. And I was like, right, you don't have a computer to code on. So now he has to
Mm.
get him a Windows computer this week. So I think that, and my sister, not knowing anything about my sister, doesn't know anything about technology. She's not that big of a help for my nephew. So I think for people who look at it and they go, I just could never do it. But if you can make a cake, you can do something with technology. It's
I,
no different.
I
Right.
find that interesting there. Like, for me growing up, I came in from South Carolina, right? And let me tell you, like, no offense to the good people of South Carolina, especially my own family here, but we were not technology people growing up, you know? I quickly, I remember, I think I can see where your nephew is coming from because for me, I was the tech guy of our house. We got a computer around 2005 ish. So, and then by then I had to be the one to figure out, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you make this thing go here? How do you pay the bills on this thing? Explain it to the family. Explain it to my mom and dad on that kind of thing. And this is 2005. This is relatively by that point computers are well not or a little bit more ubiquitous. But
Yeah.
I think it's still pretty fascinating for your nephew there. So in that case, then what is he? What technology is he working with to code his game? Is he using Scratch, for example, or is he or is he actually doing more less visual programming, more like typography programming?
I think he's doing typography, but he did tell me he's
Ooh.
trying to do scripting. He's like, I'm trying to learn scripting. I need a Windows computer. And I was like,
I'm just impressed by the fact that he knows what scripting is.
you at YouTube, the College of YouTube teaches everything.
God, I wish I had. I wish I. By the time my YouTube came up to me, I was like 16, and
Yeah,
my dad.
YouTube is just bananas with that and like Skillshare and what's the other one? Coursera and all these universities online that are doing
Yes,
free
edX.
course. There's so many out there,
Udemy.
man. And speaking of all these things out there, Shane, you put something in the on the list talking about AR on the playground. So I don't know what that one's about. So
Oh
uh,
yeah, so
Oh
this is the app.
wow.
This is the app I was telling you about earlier, D. So during one of the talks in AWE, I was listening to people just discuss their like the kind of games they created here. AR is a space I feel like as though is going to be the is a good easy space for games, especially on iPhone. Lord knows, AR Kit is a very robust, very useful tool, and therefore people can develop games very interesting and simple games. So this is a small sort of mini game segment created by Nickelodeon under Funny AR Games. So the idea for them is you have this big button. So you bring up you bring up use AR, you bring up this big button, and you say don't touch. And of course, naturally, if you're a kid, you're going to press the button.
Absolutely.
You know, you're going to press the button. So from there, a bunch of different mini games come up. They're all different. They repeat every now and again, but they're all different. And kids can really go through and experience this kind of thing. It's really fascinating. The videos they did. So that's the old don't do not touch button. So that's actually what I played when I was a kid on my computer because back in the dial-up days where they would have something like that. That one you see right there is the one that Kaio can be playing right now.
Now it's interesting. My niece, she likes Roblox. She's like really into Roblox, and she wants to have family interactions with Roblox. So
Mm.
do not touch. I'm gonna have to go tell her about this.
No, yeah, this is such a cool little bit, and I love it so much. I love technology for children. I love educational games personally. That was my training there. And while this is not purely an
What?
educational game, I think this is something that I think it introduces the idea of AR and VR to kids. Helps them understand what you can do with it. That these are the kind of games you can play for fun here. And from as once this with every success I see in the industry, I feel like as though there's gonna be others who are going to try to jump into the field. The pool gets bigger the more people splash in it.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
this is cool. I
Yeah, I
like
think
it.
it's a very fun little mini games. I think the kids are going to really enjoy it. That's why I'm going to do my part here and try to advertise it a little bit and get some more attention on it. This is the kind of it's fun, harmless games.
Yeah, we definitely need more fun and safe games.
And that's one of the things I like. I was going to say here. Yeah, we do need some more fun and kind of just mild games here, but maybe it's just me.
no, this is really cool, Shane. Um, so,
No problem.
so I mean, looking at the technology, and the kids are just doing some do not touch, do not press the button. And I just got some. I guess there's some weird stuff, some crazy things that happens just from looking at the video here. Of course, you gotta have. I have the sound turned off. Let me turn the sound on. I just want to hear it for a little bit.
Bam! 11 and 11. Perfect. No, go to the. No, your other left.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, I'm about to win though. Okay.
One of the things I love watching like people.
Let's see if I can get a high
like adult
score.
actors. in
Oh,
these games.
it's SpongeBob. He's coming out of like a secret pineapple in the middle of the sidewalk. Look at that. That's crazy.
Whoa! It just blocked your whole entire body. Come on, get everything on. Go on, go on. Yes!
Looks hilarious, Shane. And they look like they're
I
having
love
fun
watching
with it.
like adult actors. They're just there's something about them that just makes me laugh so hard when I watch them. They're adorable. It's cute.
Adorable.
You never heard of that before?
Oh yeah, I totally have. I've always looked forward to this world where we were going to be in the clear, transparent device artificial intelligence slash augmented reality world. So this is cool.
Yeah.
This brings it to fruition.
Did you see anything like this at AWE 2020? Shane?
Yeah, this is actually where I got introduced to this
Oh, really? Okay.
concept.
What else were they talking about there?
They talked about one of the conferences talked about DreamWorks and DreamWorks and their movie Trolls World Tour
Mm-hmm.
and just the development of it, what their thoughts on it, how big, how small could they get, and the kind of their planning stages of it. It was very fascinating. A lot of it.
Man, that troll movies are when it comes visually and the technology behind it are amazing. And did they say what they use?
They went into a little detail with it. It's hard for me to remember now. I wish I would have taken better notes. But they did go into some detail about what they're going through. I will point out that their information is still out there on the web. So if
Yeah.
you want to, people, for everyone out there in TV land, you can go out there and you can go and visit their website and you can actually see a lot of their videos.
Yeah, it was just I was blown away by the first troll movie and the visuals, special effects that they have. So I won't go into it because we got some more things that you got on the list here. So the next item you got on the list here is Pokemon Go sells in the world. I'll open up this link here.
So we'll make this one a quick bit because I kind of led this one as a kind of follow up to our previous conversation. So I was looking at Pokemon Go because that is the biggest AR game in the world right now, for better or for worse.
I can imagine.
Well, like everyone knows what Pokemon is. I know what Pokemon is. I grew up with it. There, D, I'm sure. D, do you know what Pokemon is? I'm sure curiosity.
Yeah, I know Pokemon. Come on, Pokemon has been around since everybody's been alive.
All right, D, what's your favorite Pokemon?
I don't have a favorite Pokemon. I'm not a fan of it. But if I had to pick one,
Kyra, do you have a favorite Pokemon?
I would pick I'll pick Squirtle.
Okay, so at least you can name a Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Pokemon.
Kyra,
I
do you
only
have a?
know Pikachu.
Oh my God.
I remember the song more than anything because I remember jingles all the time, and I never was a fan, but I did watch it on Saturday mornings when I was younger.
Yeah, I didn't. No, it didn't even come on Saturday mornings. This is a '90s show. Saturday mornings were a wrap by then.
It
Oh
wasn't.
no! Wait, Saturday mornings were still a thing in like really until like the 2010s.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
I'm an avid cartoon watcher.
I watch cartoons
like,
too.
I remember we would have Saturday they used to have Saturday morning kids WB, right? And so
Yeah.
it was so good. And then they had that right until the CW merged with I think the kids WB merged with I want to say UPN, and they came up with the CW. And so they still have Saturday morning cartoons, but it's not the same.
Right,
It's just
and I'm not sure how it was then, but in the '80s and early '90s, it was every single channel, major network, doing cartoons.
So like you would have. I'm sorry, Kyra, I interrupted you there. What'd you say?
No, I just said it was every channel.
It was like NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, everybody was playing cartoons.
Well, hang on a second, D. Back in your day, there was only like 5 stations.
Well, it transitioned as they grew to like the late '80s, early '90s, and then they slowly started to fade away. I think we had wrestling every morning at 12 o'clock after the cartoons. Wrestling would come on. So, what was the first one? It was WWE, and then what was after that?
Probably WCW or something like that.
Yeah, WWF and WWE. And then, it just started to fade away. And then, we had our after school cartoons. When you get home after school, you would have cartoons on all the channels. Your G.I. Joe, your Fox and Transformers, and then that started to slowly fade away.
So, I know we're kind of falling away from the subject matter here, but so when I was coming up, here's what you did on Saturday, right? So you didn't have every station did not have have a cartoon slot. They didn't. But you had places like Fox, had the Fox box. You had Kids WB would be on Saturdays. Cartoon Network Cartoon Network would actually have like special cartoons they would show on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And Friday nights. And then you would have, Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, which would show whatever they wanted to show at that time. They didn't always have cartoons. They didn't have necessarily a cartoon, like a cartoon Saturday morning cartoon blog, you know.
You know
And that was the
that
and that was the bit.
that is something for this generation. I have really felt sad for them for because that part of my childhood, I think, was just the best part. You get to watch cartoons on Saturday and eat a bowl of cereal.
Eat a bowl of
That was part of
cereal.
my
That's what I'm saying. You get your toast, your bowl of cereal, and you sit down for like the next 4 hours.
Well, but here's the difference between then and now, though. It's like now there are stations for cartoons that show nothing but cartoons. Cartoon Network shows nothing but cartoons for the most part. I mean, Nickelodeon shows nothing but cartoons for the most part. Disney Channel the same way. Like you don't, from back when you guys were kids, was there a station that showed nothing but cartoons?
Mi-
That was the only thing.
We had Cartoon Network and what else? USA used to do Cartoon Express, right?
right.
Yeah, okay, like you had Mortal Kombat, Defenders of the Realm. You had like the Street Fighter cartoon. Like, what cartoons were you watching on USA?
Oh, USA had a good Hanna Barbera lineup.
Yeah, the Hanna Barbera lineup got bought by Cartoon Network.
Yep.
You have no idea what cartoons you guys have missed. Like we had Dungeons and Dragons,
Which
the
was crap.
Jackson 5
Man, that was the
cartoon,
greatest show ever.
all the
Jackson 5.
oh
Yeah,
my
the Jackson
God,
Fives are hilarious, dude.
Let me make a guess. I'm gonna guess right here what happened on the Jackson 5. I have not seen a single bit of this show. I bet you it's about the five of them. They don't even have the dad or the mom in that one because I mean you don't want to have that side of it. The Jackson 5 probably were going around going to gigs and solving mysteries and crap, weren't they? Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
They solved some. It wasn't like Scooby Doo.
Oh, please.
It wasn't like
They were
Scooby
Jabber
Doo.
Jaws.
But they had their antagonists. Like one of the shows was like about like they wanted to do a concert in a concert. So somebody wanted to cut down this forest, and they didn't really want to cut down the forest to do this concert. So they had to work to overcome to be able to do the concert and save the forest at the same time. It had some really good themes and messages about it. Another one of the shows where they were trying to get in touch with one of the, like, to them, like a superstar. I can't remember who it was. I'm going to say Stevie Wonder. And they really wanted to meet Stevie Wonder. So they had to come up with all these ways to get into the building so they could meet Stevie Wonder. I can't remember who, it might have been Diana Ross.
Because I'm sure that the Jackson 5 couldn't just walk in the freaking front door and say, "Yo, Stevie, what's good? How's your mom?"
But this is when they were kids, when they were a teeny bop band.
That's the part that you guys miss because the part about fantasy and imagination and things that aren't logical, that are still funny because you're a kid, and it's like, oh, that's funny. We missed. Oh my goodness, so much that we missed. I love Jackie Chan. Like I think that was one of the last ones that I actually loved.
Yeah, that was a good one
But
too.
Like the
going
Jackie
back to
Chan Adventures.
Yeah, the Talisman.
Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo. The Flintstones, the Jetsons. The Jetsons was my favorite cartoon.
See, that's that Hanna Barbera, that era.
And
That whole
Speaking of
like
Scooby
there was
Doo,
so much to miss.
have y'all seen the
I
Scooby
saw that.
movie?
Yes.
Scoob? No, not yet.
Dude, it's a great movie. But again, it's designed. I think it's targeted for people like you and I, Cairo, because it gives all that hints and notion to Hanna Barbera throughout the entire movie.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
Like
I was hyped.
I was shocked. I was like, I thought it was gonna be like, because when they took over Scooby Doo with Japanese anime, it wasn't as good. But it went back to the old school good. I was like, this is good. I like
All
it.
right, so I don't know. Like, are you talking about Mystery Incorporated or something?
Yeah, that was the Japanese anime version. Mystery Incorporated.
No.
But then Scooby Doo, the original Scooby Doo, was a different different kind
All
of
right.
like the old Batman. Old school Batman was different than when the Japanese anime entered it and changed it around a little bit. It got a
Oh.
little dark.
Oh my goodness. So like, if you like Batman was like, I don't even know what to say to that. Because I mean, like I actually like Mystery Incorporated. I thought it was the best because for Scooby Doo, they've been doing the same formula since 1976.
Yes.
Or- You've been doing the same formula for 50 years. Can I have one Scooby Doo that takes itself a little bit more seriously? I love the old Scooby Doo. I still enjoy. I actually like the what's new Scooby Doo, which is what I had coming up. But
Oh yeah, I like
like
that.
yeah, but I mean, I don't. I loved Mystery Inc. I thought like, okay, I could use this. Like, I'm not asking for every Scooby Doo coming out forever to be like this, but I did like that one because it was just such a new, different bit.
Yeah, I loved it.
Scoop.
Yeah, and they brought back Blue Falcon, which it was a interesting play on it, where this was Blue Falcon's son, because I really enjoyed Blue Falcon and Dynamite. That was one of my favorite shows.
Bah.
Great Babe was in it.
Yeah, everybody was in it. Captain
Yeah.
Caveman.
Captain Caveman. Captain Caveman.
It looks like there's an AR app about it. So Shane, this is something we might have to talk about.
Well, it looks like as though it's just a little Scoob just going around licking you and whatnot.
Yeah.
Nothing big, but
No, that was just the intro.
Yeah, let me just click on it, see what happens. Scooby selfie. Yeah, it's some notion of a little bit of AR.
Oh, cute.
Oh, that's creepy. Take a selfie with Scooby. Mobile site. Here's the app. Yeah, it's some type of AR. Look, you see it over here?
Yeah.
We might have to play with that next time. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. Let's see what we got on our agenda.
Already?
So we won't talk about SpaceX.
stretch
We'll
it
do
a
that
little
next
bit.
show.
Stretch us a little bit. Like, I mean, come on.
We'll do the SpaceX launch next time. Yeah, Cairo, we just kind of get on here and talk and kind of let it flow and just go with the flow. It's not rigid or anything.
Can you share this?
Absolutely. This document?
Live? No, I mean, can you share this live content?
Yeah, it'll be on my Facebook. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook and YouTube page. And I'm making an OBS, so I should have it recorded, so I can actually send you the file. Yeah, because it's
Alright,
recording here.
So before we go, though, I have one last question for you, Dave.
Go ahead.
So you saw we were talking about this on we were texting about this before, and you saw that. I think we need to hash this out before we let anything go off. I'm willing to spend 10 minutes talking about this. Who do you think should have won that fight between Adora and Wonder Woman?
Oh, we already said it should have been Wonder Woman. Absolutely.
Yeah, she won.
She won. Hold on, let's pull it up, cause dude, that's like
I just wanna make sure
one of
that
the
you were
best.
straight on that, okay?
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if I can host this show with you anymore.
No, it was clear.
Otherwise.
Now, I will say She-Ra was over P as hell. But based on her power scaling that they presented, she very well could have won based on the way they presented her.
You
And that,
take away her sword, and who is she? She's just a regular. She's just a
I,
regular woman.
I don't disagree with you, but the way they presented her, they made her sound like they said she can fly around the universe in like a few minutes, right? She was moving planets on her own, right?
Wait, are you talking about new She-Ra or old She-Ra? He-Man She-Ra.
Well, I mean, if it's a case of new She-Ra, like she's not gonna beat Wonder Woman. No way,
No.
no way in living hell. But if it's old She-Ra, then she'll still lose. But it'll be a closer fight. But new, like that's what I'm talking about. Those 80 cartoons where they could just do anything they want.
And they put it out there.
More imagination block to it.
Was it? Was it really?
I think like when we used to run around and play like, who were you? Were you the Lone Ranger in Kanto? Were you She-Ra? Were you Superwoman? Who were you gonna be? Were you cops and robbers? I mean, we had all the characters, a lot of characters now I think they had back then. You probably can't use because they would probably have some kind of connotation associated with them. But yeah, Superwoman was awesome back then and now.
Yeah, one thing I want to pull up is the '80s Supergirl or Superwoman movie. I hadn't seen it in a while. It was pretty good back then. But here's the Cairo. Here's the Death Battle. So it's this group called Death Battle, and they make these fictitious battles amongst two people. And this was one of the best ones. They present all the facts that we know about the people, about the individuals, and they present it in a logical, comical fashion. Here's a little audio of it.
So you're not sponsored by Death Battles, by the way.
See what I mean?
So I don't want to put too much audio in there because I don't want to get any copyright infringements. But this was really, really well done. And then, like I had shared it with Shane, and we didn't have a debate. We were just talking about it, and I don't disagree. I think Wonder Woman is the absolutely, when it comes to sci-fi fiction super heroes, she is unparalleled to anybody. She has zero weaknesses, nothing. She is just
Exactly.
straight badass all the way.
Like, that's why she's one of my favorite characters. Like, I mean, I don't know why more people are not on this train. Like Batman is like people say, oh, it's all about Batman. It's all about Batman. I'm like, really?
Batman had no real power.
His power is he's rich.
Yeah,
Like,
Layer.
yeah, his power is he's stupid rich. That's it. Like, I wish my power was that I was stupid rich.
And he had good technology.
Like, if he would spend more money, like that technology would probably be more useful to doing other shenanigans than just to frickin' whatever he's doing with it. This rich guy gets to go about and do his own business and punch poor people and whatnot. Versus
Oh,
like,
snap.
yeah. You gotta watch these death battles. It's
spoilers,
serious.
everyone. Spoilers. I'm sorry, we didn't mean
I was
to.
just about to ask who won.
Yeah, they're really good.
Cut the video. Cut the video. We can't let the people see it.
They're done really, really well, and they go through why such and such wins. But what Shane is saying that he doesn't even think it should have been a close battle.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, old school She-Ra, because she draws power from other worlds, and she can draw down energy, right? And she has a protective force field that she can create. And remember, she, by definition, Ra, the god, right? God. She is a goddess. So she has the ability to come and bring the force of, even though she's empowered as a human, she draws the power of God. So He-Man, who was like her brother, homie, boyfriend, whatever he was, but He-Man, by the power of Grayskull, she was actually supposed to be more powerful than him because he was empowered by Grayskull. But because she was empowered as a goddess, She-Ra, she was her god, right? She
Right.
is
I'll
the
be right
goddess.
back.
And then you had Superwoman. Superwoman she came from Themyscira. She was the Themyscira. She came from the Amazonian women, right? She was a warrior by birth. She was the princess warrior. She came from the planet. She had all these superpowers. She could block. She had that lasso. It's dope. She could do all sorts. I think did she have laser beam eyes?
No,
Superman.
at least not in. This is on Wonder Woman. At least not in. I hadn't read it. She had laser eyes, but who knows? There's so many variations of her. Shane, you're more familiar with her. She ever had eye beams?
He said he'd be right back.
Oh, okay, I missed it. But no, so
I
no,
just
she.
saw on that video. I don't remember her having.
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get a sidetrack or anything like that. You know.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but no, and she's like thousands. Wonder Woman is thousands of years old, right? She's been fighting for a long time, and she's a demigod. She's not a full god, but she's a demigod.
So, I guess we all vote for Wonder Woman then.
Wonder Woman is a better. And She-Ra, the '80s, she was unstoppable. There was nothing that she could not do. So it makes it a little, it's like, well, how do you draw the line of the power, her power, when clearly the warrior should win. Like she was She-Ra for a short amount of time, as opposed to Wonder Woman being a trained warrior from birth.
Forever old.
Yeah,
Tainted.
it's good. Hey, Shane, you know what? We may have to do a Death Battle reaction review show where we just sit and watch Death Battle and nerd out and talk about it.
Well, it depends on the person going through there, because some of the people they be doing, I'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because I have no personal opinion on those fights.
Some of them really good.
Some of
There's a
them
lot of
I
good
was like,
ones.
yeah, no. Why are we asking stupid questions?
There's really, really, really good ones out there.
Oh, okay. So Johnny Phantom. I like that cartoon.
That one was a good one too. It was him and this dragon. That was a good one.
What was the one with Timmy Turner? I like that one.
Very Odd Parents.
Fairly Odd Parents. That was funny. And it was cute. Okay, so what about the Batman, the futuristic Batman with like the grandson of Bruce Wayne, whatever he was?
Okay, so that's Batman Beyond, right?
Batman Beyond, right?
And that one, he was that was his. Well, it's weird, but basically it's like this dude, and it's like 60 or 40 years in the future or something like that.
It's like 65 years in the future, way in the future.
Yeah, like Bruce Wayne's an old man and just all sorts of crap.
That's why I said grandson.
Yeah, it's really weird that the way Batman Beyond was born is that Amanda Waller injected unknowingly to Bruce Wayne Bruce Wayne's DNA into another man's, where it completely overwrote this person's DNA with Bruce Wayne's DNA, and he had his offspring, and it was effectively a Bruce Wayne offspring. It was really, really dark.
Yeah, and that was in the animated TV show.
Yeah, I just watched it. That's why it's fresh in my head.
Like,
I got one for you.
What's up?
I got two. So MC Hammer had a cartoon, and he turned
Oh,
into
God.
a superhero called Stanley Man. That was a really good cartoon, though. He could,
Oy
break
vey.
all sorts of stuff.
I don't remember that one.
You never saw that? Okay, so it was that one, and then there was what was the other one? It's lost my train of thought. But it was. I thought it was an awesome cartoon. What about the Spider-Man? Who's your favorite Spider-Man?
Like the new Marvel Spider-Man with every single Spider-Man from Spider-Verse on it.
Oh yeah.
I can't watch that. It's too many.
You don't like it?
I can't. Kyle watches it. I cannot. I sit there and there's like, you got Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ghost, you got Miles Morales, you got Spider-Girl, and then you got the Spider-Slayers. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's over Spider saturated.
The Spider Universe.
You don't have that many spider people in this thing, my man.
Quantum Spider.
There's so many spiders, man. There's like everything you can combine. There's Dracula spiders. There's dragon spiders. Anything that has been a past story. There's zombie spiders. I'm like, they're just taking everything, put spider in it.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna deny you on that, my man, but like, I don't see your problem here, frankly.
I'm a Spider-Man is probably one of my most favorite characters, and I'm overwhelmed by all the spiderness. I am a specific timeline of the Amazing Spider-Man timeline and the Todd McFarlane Farron Spider-Man. Those are my two Spider-Man.
Okay.
So what you're saying is you're an old man.
I am particular, and I'll throw in there because I'm an old man. Here's my old man part: Spider-Man and his amazing friends. That one is old.
Oh, please.
Spider-Man on a motorcycle.
And the '70s live action version, and then of course Electric Company. Those are my Spider-Man.
I don't even know what to say to you, my man. Like, I mean, like, there's like not even a cartoon, animated cartoon.
That's where I started to fall off. I was there because I think that was the last iteration of a smart Spider-Man.
Todd McFarlane Spider-Man as a TV show.
Yeah. I think